Ladies, guess who's back? I am so sorry for Tuesday. I told myself I'm going to film. We're going to do this meeting. We're going to meet up. I got fully glammed up, but it was my daughter's birthday. There was so much going on, celebrations, people were coming through. And I even forgot to write a post to say, unfortunately today I cannot make the meeting, because it would have been very kind of me to do so, but I didn't. So I'm so sorry for that, and I've missed you so much. It was so amazing to celebrate my daughter's birthday. I cannot believe that she turned 7 years old. I cannot believe that we made it till 7. No knowledge, no experience on how to be a mom, but she's 7 now. She looks amazing. She's so kind. I love her as a person. I love her character, and I cannot believe that she came through me. So it was so beautiful to celebrate with her, to connect with her, really doing new traditions, meaning more Surinamese traditions when it comes to birthday, and getting her familiar with that tradition, and involving her younger sister Amalia with picking gifts, and really trying to see if she knows her sister, her colors, the things she likes. And everything went well, because I was a little bit anxious on, will she understand that it's her birthday, her sister's birthday, and that we are getting presents for her, and that Amalia, is not getting any presents because it's not her birthday. But everything went fine. I think with getting her involved with the whole picking gifts, she really understood, and she felt proud of, yes, this is what I picked. I know my sister. I know what she loves. And then to see Kemi really loving her gifts, I think the whole thing made it such a beautiful experience. I made her a cake, her favorite Oreo cake. We went to the monkey zoo, the Apenhul, here in the Netherlands. So we went to check out the monkeys. It was so nice. It kind of was also a bit exhausting, because we had to do the travel, and we were with 4 children, and all of them wanted something different. Kemi wanted to walk ahead. She wanted to go to the next experience or the next monkey, but my son still wanted to check out the other monkey. So it's a challenge going on a expedition or a trip with 4 young children, and they all want different things. But nonetheless, I had fun. I was tired. I had to reset, but I'm happy that I did what I wanted to do, what I set out to do. So I'm only going to grow from here, because more birthdays are coming up. I've seen what I should have done differently, so I'm gonna apply it to the next birthday. And it is always a challenge, especially Kemi's birthday, because it is right after school stops, and you're so busy with school things, still cleaning up, still getting things organized from school, work that is backed up. But at the same time, you have to think ahead what you're going to do with her birthday. And then my son, his birthday is the 12th of July. So there is even more challenges, because you're really in the thick of it. You're really in the end of school, preparing everything, meetings. So it's not easy, but I'm getting better. So how are you doing? Are you enjoying your summer holidays? Let me know, where are you? Let me know in the comments where you at, where you are spending your vacation with your family. Are you having fun? Hopefully you're checking in on the meetings, because yes, we're still going on strong, because we still need all the help we can get as housewives. So I'm not gonna let you down. I'm not gonna let you go through summer by yourself, because even in this time, this season, we need support, we need help, we need somebody to talk to, even I. So I love for us just to come together, enjoy our time together, and talk. So what I wanted to know is, how long have you been a housewife for? Because for me, it's now 10 years. I started out as a girlfriend, and in 2021, my husband and I got married. But I've been doing this for 10 years. So I wanted to know, how long have you been doing this? Have you been doing this just newlywed, or have you been doing this for 40 years already? I want to know, and I also want to know how did you evolve? How did you evolve from your thought of what it was or what it is to be a housewife, and now what you think it is? Because the past few days I'm really big on therapy, and I'm not saying I am in therapy, but just being more aware of the things I was taught, the ideas that I picked up throughout life, what it means to be a housewife, because people have their ideas. You might have your own ideas what it is to be a housewife, but really it's blank. You can fill it in how you want to fill it in. It is what you think you are, that is what you are. So if you believe that you are a housewife, and that means you are submissive, you do everything what your husband asks from you, you don't have your own opinion, or maybe you do but you don't express your opinions, maybe you are scared to express your opinion because you think you're not worthy, or you think less of yourself because people tell you that being a housewife is something that is lesser than. I want to know, how is your experience so far? Because for me, when I started out, I thought it would be baking cookies, be in the kitchen, and maybe having children. I wasn't sure of that either. But I really did not know what it meant to be a housewife. It's only like being in the kitchen and being at home. Now that I'm 10 years ahead, I have seen what it means for me now. It means definitely to be aware of your surroundings, what's going on in your life. It means you have to be present, knowing what's going on, and where you can step in and let your opinion be known, that your opinion matters, and that you have to have a very strong character, that you have to be strong-minded, because there's nobody that will fight for you. Of course, you have your husband, but at the end of the day, you are two different individuals. He has his way of thinking, you have your way of thinking, and you are in charge of fighting for you, making sure that your interest, or your best interest, your needs are being met. And you cannot expect from your significant other that they know what you need, know what you want. So you have to be very comfortable and also vulnerable to express what you really want and need and see for the future, that you understand what it means to be a woman. Because my husband is not a woman, so he doesn't know my experience. He doesn't know what it means to be a woman and live this life. So you have to express that, and you have to be comfortable expressing that. And sometimes you might express it once and it's not being received well, if they don't understand what you are saying. Then you have to come up with other ways to make sure that you are being heard, there is no human resources, there's no law that really will speak up for you or protect you or fight for you. And you have to do that for yourself. When you have a job, you can go to human resources and you can complain about maybe the desk not being right, not being the right height, or you need more off days, or anything that you need. So you have to be very comfortable to speak up for yourself, to make sure that you have the right words and tools to fight for what you need from the marriage. Because at the end of the day, it's also your life. And you don't want to spend your life serving somebody else that doesn't serve you, that only cares about themselves. And there are a lot of men, and it's not men, but there are just a lot of people in general, especially in the Western world, that are very I don't want to say selfish, but we are taught to think, to be individualistic. It's a society that is built on the individual, where with third world countries, we are taught to think of our community, and we are nothing without the community. So when you enter a traditional marriage, whereas you have a housewife and you have a husband that is the sole breadwinner, you have to really change your mindset into, I cannot think for myself only anymore. I'm part of a community. I'm part of a larger institute or organ. And if you have a husband who doesn't understand that concept because he doesn't come from that, then it will be very difficult. My husband is from Suriname. He's been raised in Suriname until he was 14, and then he came to the Netherlands. So he was raised up on community. Everything you do is for the community. Same with my mom. She lived in Suriname till she was 17, and she comes from a very small district. That is how you call it, district. And everything they did together. You understood you were not better than the other one. You are part of an organ. And when you have that mindset, it's way easier to be in a marriage, because you understand the concept of, I'm not better than my wife, or my wife is not better than me. We have to work together. We cannot coexist without one another. But I know there are husbands that don't think like this, because in the Western world we are taught to fight for ourselves and think about ourselves. And if you are in such a marriage, then you should definitely be very strong-minded, very outspoken, so that your needs or concerns are being heard. So that is also a misconception of housewives walking literally behind their husbands and not speaking up, or being abused or manipulated. But I think there are some women that are just not that vocal. That is not their power. That's not their strength. And people have that misconception that all housewives are like that. No, we are not. You have housewives that are very opinionated. And I think coming into the marriage or becoming a housewife, I didn't think like that, because for me it's normal to be opinionated. I was raised by a single mom. I was always outspoken, even though it was not always well received by the people I was in a relationship in the past. I didn't change that part of myself. Maybe I became more strategic, understanding better what my power was and how I could use it wisely, because it's a tool. So I never had that, oh, because I am a housewife, I have to behave like a slave, or a child to be liked or accepted. That was never my thought process. If you like me, you like me. If you don't like me, then you don't like me. But I know I am a good person. And I think that's also very important. You have a lot of women talking about pick me girls. Of course, it's not bad. And that is the thing with social media. Everything is so black and white. It's not bad to serve and to do something that somebody asks from you. If you see that a certain man likes a certain traits or characteristics in women, that should not be a problem that you make these characteristics your own, or you develop these characteristics. I don't think that is a problem. But what you also should understand is, if you are a good person, if you are a likable person, not meaning doing what other people tell you to do, but just be kind, just be loving, be patient, don't be selfish, don't be jealous, all these traits, you will naturally attract good people or people into your life. I don't believe that you should be mean or nasty, because you also see things on social media about not being kind. You shouldn't be kind. You can be friendly, but you cannot be kind. You shouldn't have these good traits, because people might abuse you, manipulate you, or not respect you. I don't think that's true. I think everybody will be attracted to people who are kind and nice and lovely, or loving, patient, willing to listen, are interested in other people. Who doesn't want that type of person in their life? They might not know how to treat that person, but that is their own problem. If they don't know how to treat people right, that's on them. But that doesn't mean you all of a sudden become a pick me, or because you want to be liked by people that you have to submit to all their demands. No, just be kind, just be loving. And I think that's always a good trait. And it brought me a long way with being a housewife, just being patient, just being kind, listening, being interested in somebody's needs, wants, dreams, visions, seeing how I can be of service to that, to my husband. It's very important also that you know your value, because if you have the word housewife, which means nothing, it's just like money, it is empty. You fill it up, you bring it to life, you make it your own, you make it into what you want it to be. So I can tell you what it is, but that is my belief. But if you believe something else, if you believe that being a housewife is something to look down upon, if you believe being a housewife means that you're lesser than, if you believe being a housewife is that you don't have your own opinion, then that is what you will become. You bring the word to life. You bring a housewife to life. It's the embodiment of you. You hear a lot of things about manifestation. What you think you will manifest. If you believe all these negative things about housewife, that is the type of housewife you will be, and that is who you will become. But if you think positive things about the word housewife, talking about power, control, loving, spiritual, freedom, joy, it becomes something totally different, and people will see that, and people will have their, how will I call it? They might not cope with what you are showing them, because everybody has their idea or opinion on what a housewife is. Even your husband has his idea on what a housewife is, and that makes it so difficult because he might think a housewife is somebody that cooks all day. You might think being a housewife is somebody that serves him in the sense of helping him with his ideas, with his vision. That's why it's very important for yourself to figure out, what do you believe about a housewife? What is it that you believe? And you can always ask your husband, what do you believe about a housewife? What is your idea with a housewife? Because everybody throughout life has formed an opinion or ideas surrounding this subject. So it's very important for you to figure out, what do I see? Because what I see is not what you see. What I believe is not what you believe. So that is why we can learn from one another. And that's why I feel we hold the power, because we can change the narrative on what it is to be a housewife. And there will always be people that will see it as something low, as something negative. But there will also be people who will be enlightened and see it as something as freedom and being abstract. Is it abstract? Yeah, abstract. That you can, it's subjective. You can make it your own. And that might invite them to explore this lifestyle, because it's a lifestyle. It's something you become, something you embody, and it's not something you just dip in and out of. It's something you grow into. When I started out, I had a different vision of what it was. Now that I'm 10 years in, I see that it's something way broader and deeper and more spiritual than I ever thought. And I always thought it would be spiritual, because I said it a few meetings ago. I was in an abusive relationship over 10 years ago. Wow, I left that relationship in 2010, so it's over 16 years ago. And of course, when you have such a traumatic experience, it will kind of taint your view on relationships and men. But because I had that idea for myself that if I wanted to have a family, I wanted to be a housewife, I had to work on how I view relationships and men, because it was kind of tainted. And it was tainted before, because my parents divorced. I seen how my mom had to go through life, what her experience was, and I saw my dad, and I saw somebody who, let me just say, I have my mom here and I have my dad here. I respected my mom so much more because I really felt that she was doing her best. She was pushing herself. And I told myself years, probably to cope with their divorce, that they didn't fit together. They were just a wrong match. I always thought my mom could have done way better than with my dad. And not because he's not a bad person, he's a great person, but I felt she was more developed. She knew more, she wanted more, and he was coming from Ghana, coming into a new environment where he didn't know the culture, the country, the language. He had no network really, meaning he didn't know a lot of people here. He had no family here. So he was really building from zero. Where my mom came in the Netherlands when she was 17. She knew the language, because in Suriname we speak Dutch as well. She had family here. Her father brought her here. She went to school here. She had her first job when she was 21. She had her own house. So she was really, how we would say today, an independent woman. So my view of men were always men were weaker or they weren't as smart. I saw them just here where I saw women here. So I had to work on that, because if you go into a relationship where you have a traditional how do you call it, tasks or roles, if I think that I am better than my husband and that I am the one that can carry this family or relationship to the next level, how am I going to do that when he's the number one breadwinner and I feel that he cannot carry this role? How am I going to do that part? I wouldn't be able to relax, because I would be constantly worried about, is he able to make it? Is he capable? Can he really fulfill his words? So I really had to change my relationship with men, marriage, women, housewives, husband. And I think that is the most important thing when you enter a traditional relationship, that you should change your relationship with the words, with the words, because you grow up, especially when you are raised in the West, that you have to be independent. As a woman, you should stand on your own feet. You shouldn't depend on a man. You cannot trust men. You should go for your own dreams. You should be a feminist. You should fight for women empowerment and women's rights. Now you have to change your perception on what do these things mean? What is my relationship with these words? What do I think of these words? And why do I think like that? And why is my opinion shaped like this? And can I change the shape of these opinions? Can I shake it? Can I transform it into something I want it to be, and that fits my life, my dreams for myself? So I think that is most important to think about, because there might be housewives right here in the group that they are housewives, but they feel trapped and stuck, and they feel that maybe their dreams are not being met. They might think they are missing out on that they are missing out because they cannot do something, because they feel like housewives are not supposed to do anything and solely depend on their husbands. Because I also see that on social media, that when you are on social media, that you cannot be a housewife, because a housewife is not allowed to be online and maybe make money, because people relate being online with you making money, but that is not the case. That is not always the case. Maybe a lot of people want to make money online, but there are also people online who want to make friends and just start a community and just express themselves without the concept of money. So you see what I mean? People have a relationship with influencers or being online and directly connecting it with making money. My children are here. I'll be right back. It's all about relationships. How is your relationship with self, with the words, with what you are doing in your life? What is the relationship that your husband has with these terms, these words, and how does it manifest in your life? Yeah, I want to know from you, what were you thinking when you entered into your relationship? What was your idea of being a housewife? And how did it manifest in your life? Or how do you change or intercept this idea, if it was negatively, to manifest in your life? How did you intercept and change the narrative? And were you maybe struggling in the beginning to manifest what a housewife would be or mean to you? Did you allow other people's opinions, or just the opinions you formed throughout life, influence or dictate what it means to be a housewife? Because it's very important, and that's why I started this sisterhood, so that we can come together, form a support group, and really be a force to say, no, this is not what a housewife is. This is a housewife, and then we can represent it well, because it's all about representation. You can spark a young girl's mind, and she sees you and sees, wow, that is the type of woman I want to be when I grow up. And that is very important to me, especially as a black woman. Maybe you are Arabic, or maybe you are from Eastern Europe, where it's normal to be a housewife. For me, and I think for a lot of people, being a housewife, or what we see online or in books, is a white woman with the white picket fence, the dog, the husband who is a lawyer or a doctor. It's very upscale, living in the suburbs, having 2 children, a boy and a girl. You would rarely connect a housewife with a black woman, a Caribbean woman, a well-spoken black woman, or somebody who has multiple children, somebody who is educated, especially as a black woman. There's not a lot of representation on what it is, or a black housewife who is not in an interracial relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs their representation, but it's also nice to see yourself and to see that it's possible. Wait a minute, I have to close the door. Important to see myself. I love seeing myself. I love seeing black women. I love seeing women with short hair. I love to see women who take pride in their beauty, because that is who I am. So of course I celebrate it. I welcome it into my life, because it only makes me better as a human being, as a person. When I see these things, I'm getting motivated, I'm getting inspired, I'm being challenged. So it's important that I also bring this to somebody else who might think it's not possible. But when they see me, I saw a black woman, she's a housewife, she's proud of it, she's married to a black man, they have 4 beautiful children. I think it's important to carry on that torch to another woman, a younger woman, to see that it is possible, and that I am confident, and that I am smart, that I'm making intentional decisions, and not just being led by my husband and just following, and all of a sudden I find myself lost. I think that's very important to represent that yes, I am a housewife, but I still make time for myself, not only for my appearance but also for my needs, and acknowledging that I need sisters around me, that I need like-minded women around me, and that I started a sisterhood, that I started this club, that I'm making videos so that I can connect with other housewives. I think that's also important to see, that it's not only about money when you are online, and that you only think about how can I score the next big check, or how can I score the next big sponsorship. That you can come online and look for friends and community and lifelong relationship with other women. And I think a lot of women who are housewives feel the same, because especially in the West, we don't have a lot of housewives. And if we have housewives, they might live not in our area, or it might be housewives that you not necessarily would connect with. But also be honest, there are also mean housewives. You have also housewives that are totally different from you, and you're like, apart from being a housewife, we have nothing in common. You don't maybe not share the same religion, or you have not the same interests or hobbies. So it's not that because there's a housewife in your street that means you have to be friends with her. Of course you can be kind, you could be lovely, you might drink a cup of coffee, just say hi, but she might never become your real friend. That's why it's important that we get as much women in the group, so that you can really have a relationship with the housewives you like, that might share the same interests as you, that might live nearby you. I think that is important. So, like I always say, the best things in life are free. So give me something that money cannot buy, and that's a like, subscribe, comment. Most importantly, because I want to talk to you, and I think a lot of other housewives would like to talk to you as well. But also share, so that we can bring as much housewives into the club as possible, because it doesn't need to stay with you and I. We can have more joy, more laughter, more souls, so that we can really build this community and really see the power and the strength of sisterhood, of women coming together, empowering one another, rooting for one another, but also be a place where we can be vulnerable and safe and really speak on what we are thinking and feeling, because you might not be heard at home or within your family. They might not understand what you are going through. So it's nice that you have sisters that understand, because we are going through the same thing, because we are all housewives. And at one point, not even one point, it might be today, we are looking for donations. Why? I want this to be as good, big as possible. I wanted to make it as big as possible. I want to bring people on here to do interviews with, such as Elena Cardone, because she has been a housewife for a long time, and now she's really going out into the world, sharing how it is to be married to Grant Cardone, the type of character she needs to have in order to support her husband, what the role of the wife of Grant Cardone really means, and how her day looks, and what she does to support her husband. Because what a lot of people don't understand, being a housewife is not the same as being a stay-at-home mom. As a housewife, you are here to support your husband, to support his dream, his vision, and everything is by design. You cannot think that you can be married to another man or husband because you do not possess the tools and the character that he needs to become what he needs to become. So he cannot fulfill his purpose if he's not married to the right person. So Elena is the perfect wife for Cardone, for Grant Cardone. So I really want her here because she explains it so beautifully when I watch her in podcast, what it means to be a support, because she was also struggling with these terms, these words of support and being submissive and wife, because she was also always independent, and she was an actress. She was living on her own. She was doing her own thing. And now to be a wife, a housewife, and to support Grant in his purpose, she had to change her relationship with these words. And she explains it so beautifully when she said what it means to be supportive, a support beam, that a support is always stronger than the thing that rests upon the support. So that means the wife is very strong to carry the weight of that husband. That's why they used to say, behind every powerful or successful man, there is a strong woman, because she is the support. She is taking the, I don't want to really say punches, not physical punches, but the spiritual and the emotional, like punches or wear and tear of carrying that weight of the husband. Because it's weighing on the wife. It's heavy to be with a man who is a builder. I'm not saying it's not heavy to be with a man who is just somebody who's working a 9 to 5 or having a job. Of course, that also has it needs a certain type of woman, but God will never give you more than that you can carry. So if you are with a man that has a large purpose, a very influential purpose, that means you have to be a very strong woman. And I think that is something that a whole lot of people, especially women and even housewives, underestimate what it means to be a housewife, because you need to be very, very strong. It's not easy. It can be lonely. Like Elena said, it's very hard to talk to your friends about how the way your husband is moving, or maybe he might be very blunt or cut through because he's going through a rough day or a rough month, because the things he needs to go through in order to get where he needs to be. This is a spiritual journey. That is also something that I didn't expect when I came into this relationship, that I have to be very spiritual, that I have to have a lot of conversations with God or with yourself to really motivate yourself and talk to yourself, so that you don't lose your mind or start comparing yourself to another woman or another marriage. You have to be so spiritually connected. You need to know who you are, because you can get lost in your husband's purpose, and you need to focus on what your role is in his purpose, because he has his purpose, but you have a role in that. You also have a purpose in that purpose, and you need to understand your purpose. You need to be connected to God so that he can tell you and you understand what you are supposed to do for this man, and for basically the glorification of God. Not to make it too spiritual or religious, but you have to be so connected with your femininity, with who you are, instead of with what you knew or what your job title is or the amount of money you have. You have to be so in touch with yourself, with your soul, with your core, with your character. Know that you are a good person, that you are righteous, that you're doing something that is so meaningful, that will elevate and touch so many lives. It's a spiritual journey, and that is what it's been for me. Like I said, with the relationships of terms and ideas and words, it's all spiritual. So I really would love to bring Elena Cardone on. So we need donations so that we can invite her and get the camera team and do the interview and bring her on. Or maybe I'm going to America. I think they are based in Miami, so that we can have this conversation, because she is with a husband that is very successful. I mean, who doesn't know Grant Cardone? So it's very nice to talk to her, and especially because she's been so many years in, she can give new insights, and I see what she is doing, and it speaks to me. She's talking about, I think, 10x woman, 10x, something like that. So I think it's very nice to have her on. So we need donations so we can make this happen, and we are doing it together. So I'm coming to my sisterhood first, because we are not here just to take. We are also here to give. You might give a like, you might give comments, you might give subscriptions, you might bring other people on, you might bring suggestions of topics to talk about, people you want to see on the channel, because I'm not doing this solely for myself. We are doing this together. I am just the face. I'm starting this platform, this sisterhood, but I need you to contribute, because I can only think of what I can think of, but you are here to bring a fresh wind and tell me about more people that need to be on, or events that we can do and host, meet and greets, maybe products we can design. For the people who are new, hi, my name is Davy, Lady Davy, and I started this platform a few months ago because I was in the need of connecting with other housewives. I started out vlogging a few months ago, or the beginning of this year, and I loved to vlog, but I felt like I didn't want to share my life. That is not what I needed. If I did it, it would have been more for people to see what I was doing, but it's not what I needed. I wanted to connect with other women and other housewives. And I felt like, if I feel like this, I know that there are other women out here that feel the same. So why not start a sisterhood, a place that we can come together as housewives, because we need that support. We need that upliftment and empowerment from one another, because we are not going to get it from the world, because they do not understand what it is, what it means, why we are doing it. And it's also not their place. We as housewives need to stick together and show our support to one another, and really pour into our sisterhood, so that we can get out of it what we all need. Like I said, an Elena can be a great add-on to your life, because a few months ago I saw Cynthia Bailey on her Instagram. There was a picture of her for the housewives of Atlanta, their, how do you call it, interviews, or I think they called interviews for the show. And she looked so gorgeous. I was like floored how beautiful she looked. And it instantly empowered me to say, I need to go back to doing my makeup how I used to doing it. Not how Cynthia did it, but how I'm used to do it, how it suits me the best, how it flatters me the best. Because I was going on to a route of being very natural, just a little mascara, not too much, downplaying myself basically, when I was always a glam girly. But I thought, I don't want to do too much. I don't want to spend too much time on my makeup, even though it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like myself. This is how I want to look. This is the look that I've created over 10 years ago. But I let that slip away, because in my environment, there are not a lot of glam. Are not really glam ladies at all. So every time you're doing your makeup, you always feel, am I doing too much? It's not necessary. So you, day by day, you're just downscaling. When That should not be the case. This is my life. This is how I want to look. I don't care what you are doing. If you don't want to wear makeup, that's on you. But I should not have to feel that I have to downscale my appearance so I don't stand out or don't make you feel a certain way. And I said to myself, thank you, Cynthia Bailey. Thank you for putting that on your timeline, because from that day, I started to be intentional with my makeup, doing my makeup how I'm used to doing my makeup, and I feel good about it. I feel like myself, and I haven't disappointed myself since that day. And I felt like, if that has such a big impact on me, I know when I have a sisterhood that I will become a better wife. I will be a better wife. I will be a better woman. I will be a better mom. I will be better to my community, because I have other women around me that will motivate me, inspire me, push me, and get me out of my comfort zone. And that was all because of that post with Cynthia Bailey. So I know that when we come together and get the right women onto this platform, that we all will benefit from it. We will all benefit from it. The same way other people are benefiting from podcasts that talk on success, that talk on being a boss babe, being a entrepreneur. There are so many podcasts, there are so many things other people do to make sure they get the best out of themselves when they go to their job. You have your colleagues, and they are all supportive of one another because they work for the same corporation or the same company. They are every day, they are together. I don't think people understand what it means to be together with people who are like-minded, that work on the same mission, that have the same focus. You are only supposed to grow, because your colleagues are there to make you better, to make you sharper. They're getting training, they're getting the best information, they are getting hacks. They're every day they're upgrading their software, the technology they are working with. They are changing CEOs, they are changing managers, they are changing supervisors, all just to make the group, the company, the corporation better. But what do we have as housewives, to be honest? Who is there to help us? Who is there to groom us, to prepare us, to shape us, to challenge us? Apart from the work, of course, the work that you need to do at home, of course, to support your husband. But who is there as a mentor? Because this whole sisterhood started out, I need mentors and we need mentees. And I see myself as a mentee. I don't see myself as a mentor. And I'm just looking for women that can mentor me, that I can call, that I can write to. If I'm stuck on something, if I need advice, maybe need prayers, or just a good laughter or a good cry. Who do we have? Of course you have friends, you have family, but are they housewives? Do they really understand what you're going through? Are they women that will, where you feel safe? No. So we need to build our own community with wives and women who have walked before us, that understand us, that want us to succeed, to be the best support being to our husbands, but also support ourselves, to tell you, babe, you need to relax. You need to take yourself a hot bath. Make yourself a beautiful bath. Pour in flowers into it, because in our Surinamese culture, we make ourselves a sweet watra. That is a bath. And if you go to places like Bali and stuff like that, they pour you a bath and they put oils in it and all the beautiful fragrances and flowers. And it's really a bath for women. And that we have the same thing in Suriname, where you make yourself a nice bath and you talk to yourself with that water, and the water will catch the vibrations, and you just say affirmations and you just pour it over yourself. We need that. We need to talk to ourselves so that we can stay spiritually connected to our Maker, to God. Of course, prayer is good, but it's also good just to spend the time and not to talk to God, but to talk to yourself and say, I am a housewife. I am the lifeline. I am here to help my husband. I am worthy. I am valuable. I am here to give my husband life. You tell yourself these things, and as you're doing it, you pour in the water. You pour in the water with the I ams. And I am lovely, and I am strong, and I am confident, and I am life, and I am the wife that he needs. I am made by design. I am worthy. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to carry this weight. I am strong. You need that. So if we can get women into this group, they can tell us hacks that we can do in order to become better. That is what I do. But there are maybe books, magazines, podcasts, food, prayers, things that we can do so that we can ensure that we are the best versions of ourselves. We are CEOs. That means we have to fend for ourselves. There's sometimes you see it floating on internet where they say being a housewife means I am the CEO of my house. You are. So that means you also have to make sure that you get the right people onto your team. You're building your own community. Yes, you have your husband, but this is something I lost track of. I'm here to serve my husband. So it's my duty that I create a team so that I can be that support being to my husband. And I have failed in that department because I didn't understand that. I was so focused on the children and almost becoming a stay-at-home mom. Not in the sense that I want to go back to work, but so focused on the children that I forget that I'm here to support my husband. So I need to find a team so that maybe a cleaner or things that are not that important and that can be delegated, that I delegate them so that I can spend more time on being the supportive wife to my husband, but also catering to my children. Because at this point, it's just, I don't have a lot of time for him. Most of my time goes to doing the household, cleaning, cooking, bringing the children to school, stuff like that. But if I can delegate that, then I have more time to spend on what he needs from me. So this is really something I'm working towards too. I'm figuring out how I can get the community, and it starts with building this sisterhood, because then I can get the advice on, babe, you should try this. Lady Davy, I'm telling you, if you try this, this will be the best for you and you will be grateful. Because a lot of people think being a housewife means you just being at home and being in the kitchen. No, being a housewife really is something that is spiritual and it's biblical, maybe even other religious. He who finds a wife has found a good thing. And you are here to support your husband. And it said nothing about cooking and cleaning. That is a cultural concept. This concept is bigger than cooking and cleaning. So if you can delegate that, so you can be there for your husband and be spiritual, emotional, and physical available for what he needs from you, then you're being a good wife. And the cooking and the cleaning, which I love to do. But if I can delegate the cleaning part, then I only have to focus on cooking. If I can delegate bringing the children to school and maybe have other people or my mom or homeschooling, I'm taking a lot of my plate. So it's important for you as a CEO to acknowledge that you cannot do all by yourself, and that you need to delegate, and that you need to hire people so that you can be the best version of yourself. And this is something I have been struggling with for the past couple of weeks, maybe month. Now that I'm living in the Netherlands, I understand that I'm making my life way harder, because it's very hard to build a community here when you have this individualistic mindset. When I go back home, back to Suriname, or even my dad is from Ghana or other third world countries, it's way easier to be a housewife, because you can hire other women, you can have the friendships and let other women babysit your children. It's something that's even being promoted, where you're like, no, you need to go out with your husband, have fun, go date, we will take care of the children, they will play with my children. It's something that's being promoted, it's something that's being empowered, it's something that's being stimulated. Whereas here, okay, if you want that, then you have to pay for daycare, and you have to bring them there, but you don't know these people really, you don't share the same culture. So I'm really having a spiritual awakening, not even a battle anymore, it's an awakening, to see that being a housewife in the West is not the best place to be, because you're making your life very hard, especially when we are in the building phase. Maybe if you are already established, then it's easier, because you can just throw money at things and just be like, I'm hiring nannies, I'm hiring this person. But for now, that is not where I am. And even if I have the money, I don't think I would want to do that, because like I said, I don't know these people, and I have not built a connection with them, which I can do, but it's just people from different countries, maybe different values. So I'm really having my mind set on home and be the best housewife that I can be. And in this environment, I cannot be the best housewife that I can be, because I don't have enough hands, and I do not have enough time to get everything done in the way I want it to be done. So my husband is very happy with that, because he always, loved home. He loves Suriname. So that is also a really big win for us, that we agree again to, home. So yeah, but the sisterhood is the start, and that is also something you should acknowledge as a housewife. You are a CEO. It's your own responsibility to see where you are lacking, where you are your best at, to see and acknowledge that, hey, this is going wrong. I'm losing control over this part of my life, and to figure out, or to hire a team or experts to get you back on track. That's why we need this community, and that's why I'm really doing my best to be here twice a week and build the website and be more present online. And I'm writing all the notes down. It's not like I'm doing something, but when you're building, it takes time. I have all my notes. I have so many articles or columns, or however you want to call it, on my phone. I'm writing every day. I'm getting downloads from up above every single day, and I'm writing it down. I just need the time to lay it out, build the structure, the infrastructure, meaning building the website, the newsletters, but also the social media carousels and all that stuff, finding a template that works for us, that is appealing to us. I already have the logo and the name. I already told you about it. I don't know when I'm going to launch that and share that with you, because I also don't want to share it and it's not being trademarked and all that stuff. But meanwhile, even though the back end of things, the infrastructure of things, I'm I'm taking care of that. We're just going to connect, because that is just secondary. It's all about first connecting with the women and building the relationships, and the other things will just fall in place. But I'm just so glad that you are here. Don't underestimate your power. Every word, every suggestion will be taken seriously, but you have to drop it in the comments, because if you do not drop it, I don't know about it and I cannot serve you. And we are here to serve each other. I already said Elena Cardone, but I also want to talk to Marjorie Harvey. That is not a woman that speaks a lot, but she speaks volumes. The way her husband speaks about her and how he is showing up ever since she came into his life, that shows what type of woman she is. And I would love for her to be on here, same as Savannah James. She might think, oh, who am I? I'm just a housewife. What is really my purpose? What did I do all this time as being LeBron James's wife? I don't really know. And she's struggling with that, which I understand in this day and age. Being a housewife is not something that is being celebrated, but I celebrate her and I want her here, because what she has done as a young woman, being pregnant by a promising basketballer. He was not in the NBA yet. He was just in high school, to stay the course, to help out with the children, and basically be the support beam as he goes out and plays basketball and do all the great things that he has done. I want to talk to her. There are so many people. We could even maybe talk to Vanessa Bryant. I don't know if she's a housewife. That is the wife of late Kobe. I want to know, how is she dealing now that he's gone? What did he set up? How is she going about life? What are the things, the financial things that he put in place so that she can continue to show up for her late husband? Because even though her husband is not around, he has a legacy that somebody has to carry, and she has to make these decisions that will put her husband in the best light, because at the end of the day, he is still the father of her children. How is she dealing with that? I want Nene Leakes on when she was with Greg. How is that? These are all things that we as housewives will deal with. There might be the case that you might go before your husband, but I think in my case, my husband and I differ 15 years. He's 15 years older than I. So for me, it's very important to figure out, okay, what are the things that I need to think about, knowing that he might be going before me. What are the suggestions, the things to look at insurance wise or stuff like that. So, you know, we all need that knowledge. It's not something that we want to talk about, but it's very necessary for us to talk about so that we can be ahead of the game. Like I said, you are a CEO of your home. You need to be in control of what's going on in the home, because most husbands are not busy with that. My husband is not really busy with what's going on in the home and the day-to-day. He doesn't know when the children have birthday parties, play dates, all that stuff. That is none of his concern, because he's so consumed with his job, but also the thing that he's building, his own platform, his own influence and power. So he cannot be bothered with, for him, the small stuff. But the small stuff to him are the big stuff to me. I need to know about the teacher conference. I need to know about teacher conference. I need to know about report cards. I need to know about homework. I need to know about family and friends' birthdays, gatherings, making sure that we don't forget their anniversary. I have to tell my husband, don't forget to call your friends or your cousins or your family members. Don't forget it's your brother's birthday. Call him. These are the things that I have to basically deal with, because he is so consumed with what he's consumed with, he cannot think about these things. So how do you deal with that as a wife when basically the whole house is being left to you and you need to run all these things and all these people and all these agendas? So that's why I started this group, and that's why we need donations. And I'm doing my best to make sure that I can use my voice, my platform, to also make sure that we make money in the future. I want to do products, maybe start, I said it a few weeks ago, with our logo, make beautiful lipstick cases with lipsticks in it, and we can sell them maybe annually and support charity. 50% of it goes to charity. You already know I'm in support of domestic violence awareness. I want to work with YSL because I'm a beauty lover. I love YSL products, and they have a program targeted to bring more awareness around domestic violence. So I really want to talk about that as a survivor. And I want to do more charity. Of course, you have cancer, breast cancer awareness. I love to work with children and young women, doing Girl Scouts to let them know what it means to be a female and really have choices. You have a choice to be a housewife, but you can also choose to be a working woman. But know that you have a choice, and there's always a place for you, and we will give you the tools and the things you need to make the right decision. So we need the donations. So if you feel compelled, please reach out to me, send me a DM so that we can figure out what we're going to do, and we are going to do it together. I do not decide. We decide as a sisterhood who we're going to support, which charity we're going to support, which ventures we are going to do. Of course, I am the person that is the face, so most of the time I will be talking. I will have to take the punches, but also the celebrations, in that sense. If we want something done but it couldn't be done, if I had to make a decision now without consulting you first, these things will happen. But know that I will always do my best to serve the interests of the whole group. Of course, we are multiple women, different women from different places in the world, different backgrounds, different religions. So sometimes you might feel like this is not what I would do, or this is not what I would want. Speak up, speak out, but just know I always will do my best to speak up and to make sure that we are all agreeing on the next move and the next step. I also want to host meet and greets, talk to you, do events, International Women's Day, other events, so that we can meet up and see each other in person, have the people speak in live where we can all be together, have seminars, come together and have the let's go, and have the support that we need. So we need donations for that. We need suggestions. I want to talk to women in Eastern Europe, Arabic countries, Asian countries, Africa, Australia, of course South America. All the housewives are welcome, because we all need your input, especially the ones that live in South America, Africa, Asia, Middle East, because you have so much more experience on what it means to be a housewife, being loved, being nurtured by your surroundings, from the women of the West, where we are really fighting for our existence and our rights, where you have boss babes and Miss Independence, and men wanting to do 50-50, and men not taking care of women properly because they believe that women can do it by themselves. So we really want you and welcome you here. When you are in a position of wealth, please share, so that we can do the hosting and the events and meet up with one another, because we need it, I need it, and I love to meet you. For now, I'm gonna say bye. I wish you a beautiful weekend. I'm so glad that we had this little conversation. I always look forward to talk to you, to speak to you. Unfortunately, past Tuesday there was no meeting, but I'm happy that today we are back together, and we will be back on Tuesday 10 a.m. Dutch local time. I don't know what we are going to talk about yet, but you might have any suggestions. Make sure you drop it in the comments down below. I will read, I will comment back. Make sure you talk to one another in the comments. Make sure you make friends, get to know one another. Share how long you have been a housewife for, what your challenges are, what your relationship was with the word housewife. Make sure that you'll be back here on Tuesday, and then we can talk about what we have read in the comments, and hopefully you have made more friends, and hopefully we will also have some donations so that we can talk about what we're going to do with the funds that we have received. And make sure you share with all your housewife friends so that they can feel welcome and loved and safe in our sisterhood. I love you. Blessed weekend. Enjoy your summer holidays. Enjoy the weather. It's beautiful here in the Netherlands. It's going to be